Welcome to the video on immigration information for IELI students. If you ever have any questions about immigration, you can get advice from the IELI International Student Advisor. Remember that rules change. Be sure to always get advice before you act. And know that your legal status is your responsibility. Acronyms to know. Here are some important acronyms that you should know. I-20 is your F1 eligibility document. F1 is your student immigration status. I-94 is the admission departure record, which is accessible online. Visa is a stamp in your passport that allows one to enter the United States. CIP stands for the Center for International Programs. IELI is the International English Language Institute. DSO is your designated school official, also your international student advisor. USCIS is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. DHS stands for the Department of Homeland Security. DOS is the Department of State. POE is the port of entry. Important immigration documents. The following are documents that prove your visa status: Form I-20, valid passport, visa stamp, and your I-94 card, accessible online. It is important that you keep your immigration documents in a safe place and do not lose them. Also, keep all I-20 originals together as they show your immigration history. Note that a valid visa is not required to continue studies, but it is required to re-enter the United States after a visit abroad. The visa must be renewed in your home country. You cannot renew your visa while in the United States. SEVIS. SEVIS is the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System. SEVIS is an internet-based system that allows schools and the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to exchange information and data regarding international students in the United States. Maintaining your status. As an international student, you are required to maintain status of your visa. Failure to maintain status could result in your deportation from the United States. Maintaining your status is your responsibility. You must tell your international student advisor any changes in your plan, and you must follow proper procedures for these changes. Your international student advisor is here to help you maintain status. Always ask before you act. Here are some responsibilities that you have to maintain status. Report to and attend the school listed on the I-20 and visa within 10 days of the start of the session. Pursue a full course of study during every session except during school breaks, meaning attend all your classes. Make normal progress towards program completion by the program end date on the I-20. If necessary, apply for an extension of stay prior to the end date on the I-20. Follow proper procedures for a change in level, i.e., moving on from IELI to a university. Follow proper procedures for transferring schools, 60 days after completion of study, or 15 days if in the middle of your program. Report any changes of address or name within 10 days of the change. Follow grace period rules. For example, stay in the U.S. no longer than 60 days after completion of study, or 15 days if authorized withdrawal, and 0 days if unauthorized. Follow rules requiring disclosure of information and prohibition on criminal activity. Accept employment only if authorized under the regulations. Carry adequate health insurance throughout the length of the program. For more information on maintaining status, please visit the following website. Dependents. If you came to the United States with dependents, like a husband, wife, or children, they are required to follow the same or similar rules in order to maintain their F2 status. International non-immigrants with F2 visas cannot work, pursue a degree-seeking program, or study full-time. They can, however, take occasional vocational and recreational courses. Make sure your F2s know these regulations. Your DSO, or International Student Advisor, is required to report various events in SEVIS. For example, if you stop attending classes, or if you change your address. Please read through these reporting requirements. Your DSO must also report these events in SEVIS. Pause this video to read through this information. Your HSU email address is the only way that we will contact you. We will not use your alternate email address, like Yahoo or AOL. Check your HSU email account every day for important immigration advisories, IELI updates, and any information on upcoming activities or events. Full course of study. To be considered in status, you are required to have a full course of study with good attendance. In the IELI, a full course of study is 25 hours per week of class. You must attend 90% of your classes to have good attendance. Don't worry, you will be automatically enrolled in a full course of study. Failure to regularly attend your classes and make normal progress is a violation of F1 regulations. Reduced course load. Under some circumstances, you may take less than a full course of study. This is called a reduced course load, or RCL. A serious medical condition is the only exception to the full course of study requirement. You must provide documentation from a licensed medical doctor or clinical psychologist as proof. RCL is a very rare allowance and must be requested of your International Student Advisor, or DSO, before you can reduce your course load. It's very important to note that if you stop going to one or more of your courses without prior approval, you will be terminated in the SEVIS system, considered out of status, and could be deported. Name and address changes. If you move or change where you live, you must report your new address to your International Student Advisor within 10 days. You must fill out a change of address form, which you can find on our website. You also must report if you change your name, which will require a new passport. Travel. If you would like to travel outside of the U.S. during a school break, you must first have your I-20 signed by your International Student Advisor, DSO. Complete the travel request form online or in the CIP at least 2 weeks prior to your scheduled departure. Submit the form along with your passport with visa stamp, I-94, and SEVIS I-20 to the CIP for processing. It's important to note that a valid visa is required to re-enter the U.S. after a visit abroad. You should also check to make sure that your passport isn't expired and won't expire for at least 6 months. B visitor visas. We strongly recommend that you never enter and/or re-enter the U.S. on a short-term visitor's B2 visa. While you may request a change of status once in the United States, the process can be delayed and your visitor visa could expire before your status can be changed. Employment information. As an IELI student, you are allowed to get a part-time job on campus. There are strict regulations for international student employment. You may not work off campus. Talk to your international student advisor if you would like to seek out employment. Social Security Number. Social Security numbers, abbreviated SSN, are required for you to get a job. You must first have a job offer before you can qualify for a Social Security number. Wait 10 days after arriving in the United States before applying for a Social Security number. The data from your port of entry needs to be entered in the computer system. Early completion. If you complete the IELI program before the end date on your I-20, you must alert your international student advisor so they can give you a new Form I-20. When you have completed the IELI program, you get a grace period. A grace period is time allotted before you must leave the country that you may use to gather your things or travel within the United States. The grace period after IELI program completion is 60 days. Failure to depart the United States within 60 days of completion of studies is grounds for removal from the U.S. Please note that authorized early withdrawal from your program is not completion of studies. In this circumstance, you only have 15 days to depart the country. Program extensions. Your program end date is listed on your Form I-20. If you do not complete the IELI program by that date, you must request an extension from your International Student Advisor or DSO. You will need a good reason, such as severe academic difficulty or medical problems. Program extensions must be requested before the I-20 expiration date, or you will be considered out of status and will have to apply for reinstatement. Reinstatement and status violation. If you violate your status and your SEVIS record has been terminated, you may apply for reinstatement. You must have sufficient documentation for the reason of your violation in your application for reinstatement. The violation has to have been due to circumstances beyond your control. If you have questions about falling out of status or reinstatement procedures, please meet with your DSO as soon as possible. Remember, a student who has been out of status for 5 months cannot apply for reinstatement. Filing a tax return. Some international students must file information on taxes and employment. Check your email for important information on taxes during the spring sessions. The tax requirement is administered by Ward Angles, located in the Office of Extended Education in SBS 211. You can contact him if you have questions about filing a tax return. This information is provided as a guideline only and is subject to change without notice at any moment. It is important for you to understand that the responsibility for maintaining your status is yours. Please do not hesitate to meet with your International Student Advisor in the IELI prior to making any decisions that may impact your immigration status. Thank you for listening to this immigration presentation.